Very often you can encounter problems when you're trying to measure R1 and R2 on a three-phase circuit which has a motor starter or a contactor in it. If it's a contactor, it's not too much of a problem because you can just push the contacts together and you'll get a reasonable reading. Where you've got a motor starter which has got overloads in it, thermal overloads particularly, the thermal overloads have got a high resistance wire, so when you take a reading, you get a very high R1 and R2 reading, which of course isn't an accurate reading at all. I'm going to show you how I get over the problem. There's obviously other ways. First of all, we need to make sure that the board is absolutely isolated, okay, locked off as it should be. We need to use a low resistance ohm meter. Obviously we need to zero the leads, so if we do that before we start, turn the instrument on. When we connect the leads together, we need to make sure that we've got the solid part of the crocodile lead touching the solid part of the other crocodile clip so that we don't end up with high resistance joints. Once I've got a reading, if I push the button, zero the instrument, that's that part of the job carried out. So what I've got is I'm going to test to a three-phase plug and we've got a starter in the circuit. What I've done is I've wired up a three-phase plug and obviously it's got three phases, but I've joined them together so that I only need to carry out or just join the crocodile leads once rather than mess around trying to swap between different wires. It works perfectly well because the only bit of resistance I've got is this piece of cable. So if I plug this into the socket first and then connect my crocodile clips, I need to make sure they're pressed together nice and tight so that I don't get a high resistance joint. Now I've done that, I need to connect each phase or each line into the earthing bar. The easiest way to do that is disconnect each one individually, connect it into the earth terminal. I could, if I want, do them all together, which is probably for the sake of this, the easiest way to do it. So that's what I'll do now. As you can see, I've connected all three of them into the earth terminal. It may seem a bit strange, but actually I'm still only going to be measuring L1, L2 and L3 individually because I'm going to bypass the starter. As with all motor starters, we've got an overload device which obviously prevents the motor from overloading. If we try and measure across that, we're going to get a high reading, as I said before. So the easiest way to do it really is just to get a short lead and just short out between the incoming side of the starter and the outgoing side of the starter, and we'll get a reading. And we just need to do that on each line. So we've done L1, now L2, now L3, and the highest of those we would record as R1 and R2.